Hello, good morning. My name is John Codina, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a dice, a hollow dice made in Matrix. Basically, this tutorial is like an introduction to the software. So for all of you who are new using Matrix, you will see how to, well, the main tools and how to work with the software. We're going to start in the looking down viewport, which is like the top viewport. Double click to make it bigger. We're going to make a rectangle, which is in curve, rectangle. First corner of rectangle is going to be 0 enter, so it's the intersection between the Y axis and the X axis. Okay, then it's asking now other corner of length, it's going to be 10. Just type in 10, enter, and width is going to be 10 as well. So if we select like this or like this, we will see that we have a rectangle. Actually, if we go on perspective, maybe we can see it better, you see. So now we have a 10 by 10 mil rectangle. Alright then, this is just a flat curve, a closed flat curve, so we're going to select it and go to solid and extrude curve straight. Probably you see that it goes both ways, both sides. We don't want it to be like that, we want it to go just one side. So to change it, we need to get into the command line, and you see here both sides it's set to yes. We just need to click, and you see now it's on no. Bear in mind that it's also quite important that cap is set to yes and delete input is better set to no. If delete input is set to yes, this rectangle, this curve that we have just made will be deleted, and we want to keep it. So just mind that delete input is on no. Anyway, extrusion distance is going to be 10. Alright, so now we have a solid. If you see it like this, just switch, you know that we only have some lines here, and we want to see the actual solid. We just need to click on right click on perspective and set to shaded. We also have it here, so we can click on ghosted, for instance, and then render. Usually the one which is better to work with the software is shaded. Alright then, now we need to select this line in here. We can actually click on the edge, left click in here on the edge, or we can drag a window from left to right, just selecting the actual curve. Mind that in my case, these three buttons were activated, were checked. That is the history. The moment I've selected that curve and move it to the side, you see that everything gets updated. We don't want that to happen, so we need to go backwards, delete these three ones, and move again. Okay. We will show how the history command works. It's exactly the same as in Rhino 4. Okay. Just mind that Matrix has Rhino inside, so more or less it's the same thing. Alright then. So we're gonna move it slightly to the side, and we're going to make now the faces of the dice. And we're going to go back to looking down. We can get into shaded if we want. And now we're going to start making number 1. To do so, we're going to get into curve and polyline or line. Let's make it with line anyway. The start of line is going to be this endpoint. Just mind that to find this endpoint, this checkbox has to be checked. Okay, so start of line is going to be this endpoint, and end of line is going to be this endpoint. Alright, we made this line just to find the central point. In general, just mind that we are not making this exercise in the fastest way. We are doing it so that you can see more commands. Alright. Alright then, we draw a line from this endpoint to that endpoint just to find the middle of this square, of this rectangle. Now that we have this middle point, we can just go to solid, sphere, left click. You see, center of a sphere is going to be this middle point. Okay, middle point, it's this checkbox in here. Okay, this is called the snaps, and it's basically going to help us to find specific points. It's really important to be accurate. Center of a sphere, this middle point. Left click, and diameter, yeah, 2 mm diameter. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, that's number one. Let's make number two now. We're going to select the first rectangle, and we're going to copy to the side. Alright, curve again, line, and we're drawing a line again from that endpoint to that endpoint, and then another line from this endpoint to that middle point, and then another one, a third one, from this middle point, which is also the endpoint of the short one, at the same point anyway, start of line from this endpoint to that endpoint. So we have one line, one closed rectangle, one closed line, a large one, a small one on the top, and another small one in here. You see? We did that so we can find the middle point of the short ones, which are going to be the position where we're going to place the spheres. You see? We are placing a sphere on the middle of the short one and in the middle of the short one. Alright, so we have number two then. We select number two, and we're going to copy everything to the right. Now we just need to add another sphere in that middle point. Well, it's the middle point of the large one or the end point of the short ones. Doesn't matter. Okay, so number three is done now. Alright, we're going to select now just the rectangle, and we're going to copy another one in here. Now we're going to make a copy of this curve going inside. So we're going to get into curve, and here in the second block, the first one, it's called offset curve. Offset curve, and you see now we need to make a parallel line that goes inside. This distance, which is this distance, means 1 mil. We're gonna click on the command line here where it says 1, click, and we're gonna change that up to 2.5. You see now the distance has changed. Okay, we can decide to go outwards or inside. We want it to go inside, so we're gonna click on the inside part of the rectangle. You see, so now this distance is 2.5. Alright, we're gonna go to solid, sphere, and we're gonna place the spheres on the endpoints. Alright then, just select number 4 and copy to the side. We're going to place a sphere here in the middle. We can just, well, we can draw a line, normal line, from this middle point to that middle point, and then add another sphere on that middle point. Okay, now finally number 6. We select one closed line, one closed rectangle, we copy, alright, and then we need to draw some lines in here. Curve line, and we're going to draw a line from this endpoint to that middle point. Okay, so now we have one line in here and another one in there. Alright then, just line again from the middle point of the short one to that point. But you see, now we need to draw a straight line, but we need to find that perpendicular point. To find it, we need to check this box in here, the first one. So now end of line, perpendicular point. Alright, now we have this line, and this line. Finally, we're going to draw another one going from that point to the middle point of the large one. So we have this line, this line, this line, and this line. Alright, now just place some spheres. Solid, sphere, center of a sphere, the middle point of the last one we did, the middle point of the short vertical one. To mill, and now another sphere here. This point is the end point of the short vertical one or the middle point of the large vertical one. Alright? So with these two spheres, we're gonna make the other ones, the remaining ones. We're going to select the first one, and we're going to use mirror, which is here. Just mind that these commands in here, these buttons, they will always be here, okay? They will never change. So mirror, start of mirror plane, this middle point, and you see end of mirror plane, that perpendicular point. We can actually just move the mouse to the side and press shift. It's the same. Alright. Now we select these three ones and mirror again. The start of mirror plane in this case is going to be the top one, so the end or the middle point doesn't matter, and then just going down, okay, with a straight line. Okay, so now we have all the numbers we need, and we need to place them on the faces of the dice. So basically we're going to select one of them. Let's just start with number 1, and we're going to move, which is here, move, point to move from this one or this one, and point to move to, it has to be the edge of the box, of the dice. Okay, now we need to select it again, and we're going to rotate. We're going to do it in rotate 3D, which is slightly more difficult, but it's worth it. Rotate 3D, and now it's asking us for the rotation axis. Just mind that this is like the movement of a door. Okay, so the rotation axis in this case is going to be from this endpoint to that endpoint, or from this endpoint to that point. Doesn't really matter. We just need to select the axis. Okay, so end of rotation axis is going to be this one. Then angle or first reference point, it's going to be where the element is. So it's going to be this one. Alright, can be this one or can be this one, as long as it's ortho working, shift press. Okay, let's click on here as the first reference point. Okay, then second reference point, it has to be up. Okay, to make it easier, we can just click on that end. Okay, alright, number 1 is done. We just need to make the same with the other ones. Number 2, I select just number 2. I'm gonna move. In that case, I can move from this point to that point. Okay. Okay, number 2, and now rotate 3D, rotation axis, first reference point and second reference point. Number 3, if it's easier for you, you can just select all of them, move them closer, and now you don't need to zoom in and zoom out so much. Anyway, number 3, move. In that case, I'm going to move from this point to that point. I can also, going backwards, I can also move from this endpoint to that point. I'm not following the real position of the faces of the dice. Doesn't really matter. I don't really know, to be honest. Number 3, rotate 3D, start of rotation axis, endpoint, and first reference point, end, and end. Always mind that you really see the endpoints. I mean, really it's worth it to get used to using the snaps. Otherwise, it's quite easy to make mistakes. Okay. Number 4, move from this endpoint to that endpoint. Okay, now just rotate 3D and third reference point from this endpoint to that endpoint. Number 5. In this number 5 and number 6, we don't have to rotate, we just have to place them, so we just have to move. So let's make number 5 move from this endpoint to one from this endpoint on the top. Okay, and finally number 6, we better move our view so we can see the bottom of the dice, and just move, select, move, point to move from this endpoint and point to move to that endpoint. Alright then, now we have all the faces of the dice placed on the dice. Alright, we have some spheres which are solids and this box which is also solid. We also have lots of lines that we are not going to use anymore. These curves, we just want to delete it. To delete them, we can just type in here on the command line, okay, cell CRV. That actually means select curve. Enter, and now you see 19 curves added to selection. Okay, so now that they are selected, just delete, and they are out. Alright, now we need to make a Boolean difference now, just to make sure that we need to create the faces of the dice. Now we have like some surface, these spheres, they are touching the box, but we need to make the Boolean difference. Boolean difference, it's in solid difference. Okay, first set of surface or polysurface. Just mind that when using Boolean difference, we will be require two groups. Just mind that the first one is the one that stays, and the second group is the one that is leaving. Alright? So first set of surface is going to be the box, and then you see here in the command line, press enter for second set, so enter. And second set of surface or polysurface, we just need to select the spheres. So we can drag windows like this in order to select the spheres properly. Alright, then enter. Okay, and now if we select the spheres again and delete them, you see, that's why we did a Boolean difference. Alright, what's next? You see now the edges, they are really sharp. We want to make them slightly smoother, so we can use this command on the solids menu. It's called fillet edge. By default, it's going to be set by 1. That's quite too much in this case. We need to change this current radius. Just click on it and type, for instance, 0.15. That's millimeters always. Okay, you can change that, but I strongly recommend not to use more than 0.20 mil. Anyway, select edges to fillet. So we are going to select on the edges, all of them. There's no need to press shift, you just need to select the edges. Alright, we're gonna use just the main ones, okay? Enter and enter again. You see, now the edges are much smoother. Okay, now we have a dice, but this dice is solid. Just imagine that it's like a piece of jewelry. We may need to make it hollow, okay? Especially if we are working with gold or some kind of precious metal. Okay, so we're gonna make it hollow. To do so, we need to create another box, a new box, make it smaller, and split the dice in two. Okay. We're gonna start working with another layer now. We're going to start working with the red layer. so far we've been working with the basic one, the one which is by default, which is metal 1. Now we're going to click on user 01. So everything that we're going to do now is going to be in another color, in another layer. Alright, so we're going to make a new box that is going to be 10 by 10 by 10. We're going to make that box by using the box command, which is inside the solids menu. So box, and now it's asking for a first corner of base. The first corner of base is going to be 0, enter. And now, as I said, the distance has to be 10 by 10 by 10. So we just need to type in 10, enter, 10, enter, and height 10, enter. You see now, the first box we did was 10 by 10 by 10, and the new one as well. The new one is also 10 by 10 by 10. That's why we can see this kind of military pattern. You see that it's like kind of crazy. That's basically because in the same position we have two different objects of two different layers. So it kind of makes sense because the software is not able to show us one layer. The software has to show us two different layers, because actually there are two different layers on the same position. Alright then, now we need to select this layer and make it smaller. We can just scale it down, okay? So we need to make it smaller. We're going to hide the metal 1 layer, so we can just work properly with the red one. Now I strongly recommend to get into ghosted viewport so we can see the inside. Alright, okay then, so we're gonna make a line from one edge to the opposite one. Okay, doesn't matter if you make it in red, in yellow, or in any kind of layer. You see, so we draw a line, a straight line from that endpoint to that endpoint. And now we can just select the box, transform, scale 3D, and you see now it's asking for the origin point. The origin point is going to be the middle point of this line we've done. Okay, and now scale factor or reference point, I mean, it's not really that important, but just try to make a straight line. It's not really a line, it's just something that the commands need. Okay, so just press shift and click in here, for instance. Okay, and now second reference point, just move it to the center, something like that should be fine. Okay, now, so now we have a dice with an object inside. Okay, if we get into shaded, we won't see it because it's inside. Alright, but we need to make something else. We need to make the dice, we need to split the dice in two different objects. Okay, now, so I'm gonna select the red object inside the red box. I'm gonna move it, I'm gonna change its layer, so I'm gonna make it now in green. So you see now the object is not red anymore, now it's on the green layer, on the 02 layer, user 02 layer. We can delete this line now, the one that was crossing. Okay, we're gonna get in through finger view, double click in there, and we're gonna make another line. Yeah, we can do that with another layer, user 01 or whatever you want, and we're gonna make a line that goes that way. It's quite important that it goes through the middle. Okay, so the middle is more or less in there, so just make it like that. Okay, alright, now we have just a straight line in this position. Okay, it's always better to check what you're doing on perspective, because sometimes looking down through finger and side view can be quite tricky. So we can do that on perspective. Just select that line, solid, extrude curve straight. You see that by default it goes up, but in this case we don't want it to go up. We want it to go to that direction. So we need to change the direction of the extrusion. If you see here on the command line, it says extrusion distance, direction, both sides. Well, we have some options, right? So we're gonna click on direction. Basically, we need to set the direction of the extrusion. So always a direction is set by 2 different points. So we just need to set 2 points. One, and then just press shift and click again. I'm doing it again. Extrude and click on direction, and we need to set 2 points. So you can click anywhere, press shift and anywhere. Doesn't matter, this is not a distance, okay? Just click in here and that's it. Alright, so we're gonna make now a surface. Okay, so just extrude that line to make a surface. Okay, now we have a solid and a surface. Now just click on that surface and move it slightly to that side, just by pressing shift and dragging to the left. Okay, now what else? We need to select everything and copy everything in here. Okay, I know it doesn't make any sense at all now, but it will make sense. All right. Basically what we are doing is splitting the solid by using solids. We could be able to split this object with the surface by using this command, which is split, but then everything inside will not be a solid anymore. The moment we split solid with solid, which is actually a Boolean difference, everything is solid again. So it means less problems. Alright, we will explain that in another tutorial anyway. Okay, so now we select the surface, and here next to extrude curve straight we have solid extrude all and straight. Basically we are turning a surface into a solid. So we're going to extrude the first one in one direction, okay, like that, and then this one that way. Okay, alright, so now we're going to make a Boolean difference, solid Boolean difference. The first objects are going to be the green ones. Okay, we can make 2 at a time. So first objects, these ones, enter. Second objects, this one and this one, enter. We can delete these objects, and if you see now, we have one object, and one object, and one object. They are all solid. Okay, that makes everything much easier. I'm gonna hide this layer, the user02, just for you to see. Okay, and now we're gonna use these boxes to make it hollow from the inside. So Boolean difference, the first object are gonna be these ones, enter. Second group, this one and this one, enter. We delete this one, okay, and that's it. Well, we just need to move it. We can move it from that endpoint to that endpoint. Okay, so now you see everything is hollow from the inside. We haven't really considered thicknesses. Okay, this is basically a tutorial to show you how to do it. It really depends on which metal you are casting or in which material you are prototyping the object. Okay, well, thank you so much. Bye bye.